is me, Tisha G, and I am here today to talk about all things Oscar. Yes, as you can see, I am dolled up today. Yes, I'm going all natural, of course. And I have my long Sarah lobe, tip of a lobe. And I also have my libation. And yeah, so we're going to talk about the Oscars today. And I know that, everything that I'm doing here is all prop and it's really not how the starlets and stars, actors and actresses behave today. Of course, the mannerism may be that from the inside out, but we don't do they don't do that now. I mean, these things were actually from these mannerisms and behaviors were actually from the 1920s. And the which we're going to talk about what this is all about. And the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is the regulating authority who celebrates the hard work and contributions that said actors and actresses make to the industry year after year. Usually, let's talk about the year that it started. In 1927, some time ago, long before you and I were here, 1927 is when this all started. Now, of course, theater, cinema, um, what was that? I'm trying to call the name of it really quick. Uh, I'll get back to it. Stage mainly, and then it moved over to the silver screen around about the 1920s. Our first actual movie theater actually was in 1920. One of our oldest movie theaters is one that's still standing and thriving today, and that's the AMC Cinema. And it just celebrated 100 years back here in 2020, back over the time of the pandemic. So, and I just want to share my little experience with my love of the arts. Um, I fell in love with the arts at a very young age, and I think I talked about this in the pilot of A&E, not the A&E, the cable channel, right? And this is not to infringe upon or try to monetize off of that in any way. As a matter of fact, it's a working title, and I'm working on trying to change that. And so, really quick, if you guys want to help me out with changing the name of this, because we're going to be talking about all things entertainment, whether it be the stage, whether it be the silver screen, whether it be the green screen, whether it be the streaming screen. We're going to be talking about all those things, and we're going to broaden it out. We're even going to be talking about some behind the scenes stuff, but for all intents and purposes for today, every third week of the month, we're going to have this whole thing talking about the arts. Why? Because the arts are so important and they're so vital and they're so nice to have. We're on the 96th year of the Oscars, and each year it's just been trudging along. When it was the pandemic and we weren't able to do what we needed to do, the pandemic was here. It was online. It was via distance, and these things. The show just went on. So now, to get off into some little facts and trivia, and before we get off into the nominees for the 2023 year, I want to talk about some little known facts about the Oscar, the activities and the festivities itself. Like I said, this is the 96th year. 1927 was the first year. The first Academy Award ceremony, rather. It wasn't always a statuette in the beginning. The statuette itself actually is fashioned after, get this, a famous Mexican filmmaker and actor named Emilio Fernandez, who met the wife of a very well-known cat. Yes, up and around Hollywood, out there in the Hollywood streets, and he asked him to pose for the statuette in the nude. So, yes, our statue that we look at every year is actually a Mexican named Emilio Fernandez. So, thank you, Emilio Fernandez, for lending yourself to get what we know today as the Oscar. Now, how did the Oscar get named? Actually, the librarian and the librarian of the American Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, which it was not called that in the beginning. It was called she was just a librarian. She was there to archive everything and make sure everything was kept in place. And so we could have these things to look back on today. And her name was Margaret. I want to say her name was Margaret. I'm going to find out for you. Just give me 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Hey, okay, so it says a final theory about the nickname of the academy to the academy. Librarian Margaret Eric, who reportedly made an offhand comment that the statuette reminded her of her uncle Oscar. So that is how the Oscar got its name. So now we also need to know, because I want to get off into this list. I'm very excited. This year was a very good year for me with the Oscars. And let's address the elephant in the room. On my page, on my flyer, on my everything, I had a co-host who was scheduled to come, and he is unable to make it. And it is my hopes that going forward, we'll be able to have our pal Sal sitting in with us to weigh in, so to speak, on all things that are entertainment, whether it be green screen, silver screen, the stage, or otherwise. So with that being said, if you catch this on the record, feel free to chat in. Feel free to chime in on anything that you feel is. We're going to talk about 2 or 3 things today. One, we're going to talk about the actual Academy's list of people who were nominated for awards. Now, when is the award ceremony to be aired? I'm glad you asked. March 10th, 2024. That's this year. A few weeks from now, tune in. I don't know which station has it this year, but it will be televised. Yes, the ceremony will be televised. Where will it be televised from? It will be televised from the Dolby Theater at Ovation Hollywood. Ovation. I said Ovation. Ovation Hollywood, March 10th, Sunday. And this is all, like I said, from the movies from 2023. So, and before we go forward, all of my movie people out there, like, I feel like I did a really good job of giving a little bit of history about the ceremony itself. And of course, we know where it comes from. It comes from the reason the Academy was formulated was because of movies. Because of all things movies. Now, the 5 categories we're talking about Best Actor, Supporting Actor, actor or actress, so to speak. They talk about scores, which is the movie itself, director, and I forgot what the last category was. But if you chime in and you know what the 5th category is, please feel free to throw it up in there. But this is what we're doing this week. All things Oscars under the A&E segment of G-Spot. Now, I am excited. Are you? Now we're going to talk about the categories. And this is probably going to answer that question that I had in mind. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. And you know, from when I did my interview with Kettlebell Shell, which was a few weeks ago. I got really, really good with learning how to share this screen, and I'm good at it. And I tell you, I'm good. I'm getting good. So we're going to share this screen. Share this with you. So, like I said, this is. Am I sharing the screen? Okay, I am sharing the screen. Look at that. So there you have it. This is a subcategory. This is a listing. This is the actual Oscars.org page, ceremonies for 2024. And what this page basically does, it lists out everything, all things about the Academy. If you want to know something, you go 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way back, all the way up to this year, which we're going to be talking about this year. But just for argument's sake and just to play around a little bit, I want to go back to 1920. Okay? Right. 1920s. So the first Academy Award ceremony was 1929. I said 1927, but I was wrong. And it says view by Cat. Okay, so it does not have the 9 decades of the Oscars. So wait a minute, let me see. Let's go back to 1929. Oh my God, look at these faces. Oh my God. Oh my God, Seventh Heaven. 2 Arabian Nights. And Wings. Best Picture, right? The first Oscar winner for Best Picture, I can't read his name. Milestone, winner for a comedy picture. Frank, that's a strange name. Winner for dramatic picture. Look at that. Memorable moments. Look at this. First Oscar presentation and banquet held in the Blossom Room of the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Ooh, look at that. Best Actress winner for The Seventh Heaven, Street Angel, which is Janet Gaynor, Joseph. These are just some things. It's real good. And once again, if you want to know more about the Oscars, www.oscars.org. There you go, right there. And you go to the years. But I want to get to where I want to get to so that you could see what I want to see, which is 2024. And so I want to talk first. I want to talk about 5. This is Sal's idea, and I think it's such a grand idea. So that's why I'm so hoping that he will be able to, before I show you the nominees, I've had a really good year with getting my behind in the seat at the theater, having my popcorn and my drinks, my beverages, and I had the opportunity to go to a dining theater. So every now and then I've had a little meal with my movie. I had an M&M. So, yes. And I had an M&M, and I've had some M&Ms, which is a staple snack and candy for the moviegoer. Yes, I did. So, one of the things, the last movie I saw this year was Poor Things. Now, Poor Things with Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo, and it was a really good cast. And when I saw it, immediately, I think earlier in the year, I was going to go see another movie, and I saw the previews, the oncoming attractions, and I said, I have to see that. And it doesn't hurt that I'm an Emma Stone fan, if that makes sense. She's made her bones up and coming. I remember her from the Gangster Squad with his face is right here in front of me. And and because I'm going to mention him in another movie coming up. And I was like, wow, she's really good. So I saw her in a number of movies, and I found her to be The Help a few years ago, quite a few years ago. The Help, which is by behind the book, by the book, the movie based on the book, and that was really good. And she played Skeeter in that movie, a young Caucasian woman who came back home, or a young white woman who came back home to the South and wanted to tell the story of the African American uh, service population who served the white women. Like there was no the white population or the white community. They were maids and how things were just so harsh. And it told a story through the eyes of a young woman who was coming back home. And it was a really good movie. Um, Viola Davis, right? Couple of other stars. And I wanted to talk about that. So when I saw this movie, I immediately got it. I asked a few other people about it. They didn't get it, but I got it. It was refreshing. It was quirky. It was witty. It was funny. It was sly. It was straightforward. It was so many different things, and it definitely took me on a roller coaster ride. And I got in touch with some real feelings and some things that had me setting some emotional goals and setting some goals for myself. So I was like, I kind of want to be like her. Because we live in a society where you can't do and say whatever it is you want to do and say. And this movie sparked something in me. So thumbs up to that movie. And the movie before that was Killers of the Flower Moon. I remember putting this movie off for weeks and weeks and weeks because I was able to identify with the story behind it, of being neglected, being disrespected, coming from a people that was looked over and was not seen and and I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see the dividing line between one race who trampled over or preyed on another for its riches and took and stole. I didn't want to see that. So I put this movie off until like the last week. And what happened was when I went, boy, I tell you, was it a tour de force? Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Whom I've been a fan of for years, ever since his movie Basketball Diaries. He was a young buck. I think he started in the game really early. And so I found myself saying, this kid, when I saw the movie, it erupted feelings in me because of the content. The content was just so real. I was like, how is this young boy tapping into stuff, right? Emotional stuff, and conveying this in this manner? I couldn't believe it. So then there was, of course, Robert De Niro. You talking to me? You talking to me? I remember Robert De Niro. My first movie seeing him in was Taxi. He was with Jodie Foster, and he did that. He did that. And so over the years, I found myself following his career and admiring him for his work. He has a very, very great body of work. Goodfellas and anger management. With Billy Crystal, and he has range. He has girth. His characters, they really, really meet the parents, meet the fathers. Girth. He's comedic. He's everything. And in this movie, he played a tyrant. He played a liar. he played a charlatan. He was just downright disgusting. And I hated him, but I love him. And for that, these two, I felt, the whole movie, though, Martin Scorsese was the director, is the director of this movie. And I was just like, oh, this movie was delicious. And for me to have put it off the way that I did, I shouldn't have. But I got in the theaters and I did see it. And for that, director, two actors, and the other young lady who played the starring role, I think her name was Lily Moon. Oh, she was delicious. I loved her. So for that, these are three people in one movie, plus a director. And the way the story was told, it was just laid out so eloquently. But let's talk about Martin Scorsese. Over the years, this is a guy who has delivered and delivered and delivered and delivered. So he deserves his spot in Hollywood as being that dude, that director. There's quite a few other directors, and we could get into that at another time. But he's that dude when it comes to certain things, and he has range. He can direct a number of things, and it be delivered well, right? Did I mention that Emma Stone's Poor Thing is a movie that was directed by Emma Stone? And Mark Ruffalo had a good amount of stuff to do with that too. So we're just stepping back. Those are two movies that I'm saying before we go into the list that were really, 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 to me, Oscar worthy. Now, and that meets at least two of the three categories: the acting, man and woman, and the direction. Now, I want to take a minute to do a little bit of a break. You're at G Spot. G Spot is an up and coming YouTube channel that is finding its way. Everything we're doing now, we're in season 1. It's a podcast. It's season 1. We are finding our way. If you like what you hear here, what you see here, if you like how you feel when you get here, click the reminder button so that you can be reminded to come back every Sunday at 2:00 and hang out with us and be live and come on camera and do what it is we do, and that's chop it up. It's a channel that I really, really thought about when I thought about everyday people like us that make this country hum. We go to work every day. We're 9 to 5ers, and a lot of times we feel, and it appears that we're unheard. We're taxpayers. We are mothers. We are fathers. We are siblings. We are friends. We're everything, and we make this thing work. So if you are here and you come across this page, hit that reminder button and come back on every second Sunday of the month, every Sunday of the month at 2 p.m., where it's a rotating format. The first week of the month is relationships. The second week of the month is clinical stuff. We talk about stuff, fire stuff. We're going to talk about stuff. Third week of the month is this, entertainment. Fourth week of the month is an interview. And if there's a fifth week of the month, we're still trying to figure it out. Like I said, we're up and coming, so we're figuring this thing out. We're not married to any of these concepts. We're not married to any of this content. It may change. You determine if it changes. If something you don't like, let's speak to it. Let's work on it and let's move it. G_spot829@yahoo.com is where you can reach me. And go in that email, send an email, and tell me what it is you want to hear, what you want to talk about, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, how you're moving. It's an expanding format. I've seen this thing go from 12 members, 12 subscribers in January, and now I'm up to 30. Wow. And it's not even the end of February. So somebody is hearing something, somebody is feeling something, and I am loving it. So let's get in here and let's make this channel your channel. I know they call the forum and the format YouTube. Let's make this your channel. Okay, so with that being said, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Okay, diaries. So we covered 2 movies, 4 different categories. No, 3 to 4 different categories. And now we're going to move to our third movie. Our third movie, working back, because we're working backwards to 2023, is, let me tell you something. Okay? I'm going to say something. Since I had this birth of my son, I was getting turned on to different superhero movies, DC and Marvel comics, right? And some time ago, I have to do this little introduction for this. Some time ago, a movie came out called The Dark Knight, and it was based on Batman. And over the years, there's been so many different versions of Batman, so many different stars that played him, and there has been Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck. Space is right here in front of me. I can't call it. The one that played American Psycho. And in those movies, there have been different stars that have done different versions. And what has happened is that, if you ask me, it's gotten a little bit lackluster. And I'm not really a DC Marvel comic type girl. I'm not. Over the years, I'll stick my head in on certain things. I remember the first one that I took my son to see when he was a wee slip of a little kid. He was still in pull-ups or Pampers, I think it was, and it was Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. Yes, you Google it. So that lets you know that was my first DC Marvel comic movie or whatever. It's so convoluted, I don't even know what to call it. I don't even know the differentiations between the two. But I want to say it's Marvel Comics. But nonetheless, I digress. So earlier this year, once again, going to the movies, as you can see, I'm working my way back. I saw another preview, right, to a movie. And it said that this young man's neck was attached to it, Christopher Nolan, right? Now, anybody knows he's famous for the whole Marvel Comics, whatever reason he loves Batman. And he does, from what I'm understanding, he would do a phenomenal job, because I never stick my head in on Batman. But I went to the movies, the hype was on, and the way it was displayed during the whole hoopla of the coming attraction, the preview have you. I was watching another movie, and I said, "Oh my God, I gotta see this movie." Oh my God. Then they started talking about the graphics that he was using to 8mm and some other not even unheard of tricks, but how he took the different elements of filmmaking and brought them together and did this movie. And I want to talk about it because it was based on an actual figure in our society who was helpful or harmful, depending on how you view the movie, and our efforts to defend our country. And the movie is Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy, I think he's from Ireland. He was cast in the leading role as the character Oppenheimer. And then there is like this all-star cast. I'm going to rattle off some names, so I just want you guys to just hold on. Like if you got arms on the edge of your seat, just hold on because I'm gonna rattle off some names. But he was like, he led this cast. He was like, if he doesn't get an award, these are the 5 movies, guys, that I'm talking about. I feel in either one or more categories need to take it. Now, this movie was so good, right? Let me talk about how good this movie was. Say how like wait, so this movie was so good, right? This movie was so good, right? How good was it? I'm going to tell you how good this movie was. That when now, first of all, the movie was God forsaken 3 hours long. First of all, I want to first say I got my money's worth. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it was so long that it didn't even feel like the amount of time that it was, right? It just took you on such a journey, on such a tour de force, and it wasn't just putting stuff in chronological order. It also took you on an emotional ride. It had you step into the shoes of the character and feel the feelings, his struggles, his angst, his ambivalence, his doubts, his fears, his worries. It took you on a journey that was just so multifaceted. It just fed every fiber of your being. And I'm talking about mental, emotional, psychological, everything. Like you challenged yourself. I found myself sitting there challenging myself, saying, he was right, but people died, but he was wrong. The movie was phenomenal. And so for that, and for not being a fan, far cry, Christopher, Mr. Nolan, he is now Mr. Nolan to me. He did that. Okay, I just want to let you guys know that he did that. Yes, he did. And for that, Cillian Murphy, right? Matt Damon, right? I'm talking about Emily Blunt. I'm talking about let's shout out some names, right? And are you ready for this? And I didn't even know that he was in there, but because I am such a fan, I'm about to shout this name out, and you know this guy, Robert Downey Jr. So I didn't even know they had him made up so good that when I saw it, the only way that I could make him out was by his eyes. He has these eyes that just pull you in. And when I saw him, I said, I know this guy. And after 3 minutes, I said, that's Robert Downey. And when I tell you, and I'm going to make a statement, I'm going to make a statement, and I want you guys to understand this. The 4 characters in this movie, along with Mr. Nolan, who was the director, right? 4 people, 5, right? Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, and Robert Downey. These 3. Now, Matt Damon, he did his thing, but I want you to, under the direction of Mr. Nolan, I'm calling him Mr. Nolan, they should have no asses. Yes, I said a curse because they acted it off. They acted their asses off. Yes, they should have no gluteus maximus. I don't know, gluteus maximus or gluteus maximus because it's 3 of them. Do you make that a plural or is gluteus maximus already plural? I don't know, but any which way you put it, neither one of them should have a behind because they acted it off. And that, my dear, is what I'm saying. The score, the music, how he brought the various elemental tricks of directing and movie making and put them all together to create this masterpiece. I foresee Oppenheimer being used as the topic of conversation in universities. I foresee this movie is going down in the annals of time as a classic. I said, and if you don't, when you you go down 10 years from now and you come back to G Spot, I said, well, somebody else might have said it before me, but I'm saying it now. So we're checking on back. We're checking on back. So we did 3 movies so far, right? What was it for? We did Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, Oppenheimer. Okay. So the next one, checking on back. Checking on back. I think I might have the chronological order mixed up with this one because I think I saw this one after Oppenheimer, but I'm not sure. So the mere thing is, the fact is that I'm mentioning it. Does that make sense? But before I do that, I want to do a little commercial. You're at G Spot. What you are doing here is listening to all things Oscars. We're talking about the Oscars for 2020 to 2023 year of work and 2024. This is the 96th year of the Oscars. The Oscars are being filmed March 10th, 2024. And if you are interested in going live, it will be at the Dolby Theater, Ovation Hollywood. I need to be dragged. I need to stop it. They're gonna call this the Dolly Theater first, but it's the Dolby Theater at Ovation Hollywood. And then the first time I was saying Ovation, but it's Ovation Hollywood, Sunday, March 10th, 2024. So if you're in the neighborhood, if you're in front of a TV, if you're in front of a cell phone, if you got your tablet, turn it on. So in a minute, I'm going to reveal all of the and see if I was aligned with what the Academy did. Make sense? Okay, so we chugging along. So we're back, and what happened was I went to the movies again. All of these movies I went to the movies to see. Now, those of you who have seen this gentleman probably have mixed feelings about him, or some of you who are really, really aficionados, hardcore, you probably were with him right from the start. But this guy, Paul Giamatti, yes, I think I pronounced his name right. I saw this in a preview in the beginning of the year, and I said, I gotta go see this movie. The name of the movie is The Holdovers. And the premise of it is that he's a professor with a story, right? And having this story, he wound up being the draft pick to stay at this elite boarding school with the children who don't have anywhere to go for Christmas. Well, he ends up with this young man, and the story unfurls, and it was just so sweet. I just want to say this, and for me, Paul Giamatti, I've seen him in a number of roles, but this one right here represent him coming into his own, if that makes sense. Coming into his own, honing his craft, right? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I saw him in earlier movies, and I said, this guy, a little bit of comedy. He was comedic, and then as the years, he started getting better roles. I think it had a lot to do with his manager, whoever's managing him. They're getting him really primo roles, and in the past few years, I've been seeing him. He's been getting closer and closer. So, Mr. Giamatti, you landed into a really good role in The Holdovers. And for that, you, sir, should be bringing home the Oscar. There was a little bit of music there, but nothing memorable. But it was a period piece. It had to be it looked like the whole thing looked like it was the 60s or 70s, somewhere in that area. And for that, kudos to the director for bringing it. But it was really Mr. Giamatti who got at the helm of this vehicle called The Holdovers, and he brought it home. He brought it all the way in. He didn't pull no stops. And when he did stop, he was picking up love, and he kept the train moving. So to you, Mr. Giamatti, you need to be taking home the award. The script itself was pretty good. It was a pretty solid script. It was cohesive. It traveled along really well. The cast really supported him. I loved it. I loved the movie. I loved it. I loved it. Okay, so I think we hit 4 movies. I want to do a little commercial, and I had not been speaking of it. If you are, right? If you are, if you are here, you're at the G Spot. I know there's a lot of G Spots on YouTube, but G Spot 967 is where you need to be. It's for you. This is your channel. Come here and be. Today we're talking about all things cinema, all things entertainment, and the subcategory under all this is all things Oscar. So we done covered 4 movies thus far. When you go back on the record, right? I want you to really, really take a look at it. Whew. Am I getting it or what? So we're gonna stop sharing the screen really quick. No, I think I might need the screen again. So making it to the movies. All these movies, by the way, I've had the opportunity to actually sit in the movie theater and watch. There you have it. I love theater. I love going to the movies. I love everything about it. Um, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so I'm looking for my other movie that I want to this was a movie I saw, and I know it didn't make it because I know it falls under, how can I say it? It falls under a B rating movie, but I went to go see it and it struck a chord with me. No. Before I do that, I want to talk about this other movie I went to go see, Madonna. Okay, so Madonna is how can I say it? A cult icon. It's an icon. Well, some years ago she married this director, England, Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie is this famous movie director. Over the years, I have been dipping and dabbling with Guy Ritchie's work. He had one movie where it was just like, Matthew McConaughey did one, and he was the, a marijuana salesman. I can't call the name of it right now, but it was good. It was entertaining. Well, this year, he teamed up with, what is his name? I want to call his name. Oh, goodness. Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is, anybody who's followed his career, phenomenal. That's a nice body of work. Brokeback Mountain. He's done a number of things. The Night Watchman, where he was the paparazzi who would go around taking pictures. He has a nice body of work. Well, this year, Mr. Gyllenhaal put on his fatigues and he went military. And the name of the movie that I'm talking about is The Covenant. I went to go see this movie. Now, I'm not into military movies, and I've had my share. I've watched them over the years. But Mr. Gyllenhaal really, really did a good job with he and this guy. Now, the other guy, too, who was of another nationality, another culture, I don't want to put him under a different category because I'm not real proficient, Middle Eastern, but he did a really good job as being his co-star, right? But I really feel like, for all intents and purposes, Mr. Gyllenhaal did a good job in The Covenant. So, with that being said, those are my 5 that I went to go see. Now, there are others. Now, I talked about, I don't want anybody to get any, I don't want to get any guff from individuals about, oh, everybody is of a certain nationality. These are the movies that touch me, just so that we could be well-rounded, right? Because your girl go to the movies. I just want to let you know that I go to the movies. Chevalier. Yes. Based on a true story, 19th century, early 19th century, of a violinist. And he was bad. The young man who played him, up and coming, I think I see him in 2 other things, but he did his thing. We should be looking for him again. But Chevalier, if you have not seen it, check it out. What this did for me was, because a lot of our stories aren't told. And when I say stories and I say ours, I'm saying African American. As you can look at the screen, you can see that I'm African American. And our stories are not told. So it was refreshing to see a story that I had not heard about come to life on the screen, not just by way of the book, but on the screen. And not only that, it was executed in such a way that it just excited me. I was excited. That's the word. I was excited. The music, it also made me want to take up the violin. Yes. So, young man, that's what you did. You inspired me. Am I going to take up violin lessons? Probably not. But it made me want to. You inspired me. The other movie that I want to talk about that had African American actors in it that carried the movie really, really well was now, okay, so I'm gonna take you back a little bit. In 1970 something, a movie came out, and it was one of my first horror movies I saw. I want to say that. And scared the hell out of me. Did. The star was Linda Blair. She was a child star at the time. I know, and as soon as you say Linda Blair, this is the movie that shaped that. Like, if you're on a road map of Linda Blair's life, you see a stick pin in the map, you know that red stick pin with that red bubble on it is The Exorcist. Anything that she did before or after is eclipsed by her work in this movie. Now, tell me I'm wrong. Hey, I'm willing to be. But this is how I feel. When you say the name Linda Blair to anybody, first thought out their head, they may say another movie. The first thought in their head is going to be The Exorcist. That's what it is for me. Well, this movie comes on the heels of that, and it's the mom actually did a cameo, and Linda Blair at the end also. So she lent her star to it afterwards. And what happened was this movie, African American Dad, I want to call his name because I know him. I've seen him in a number of things, and he was really, really good. I can't believe this. And I'm seeing his face right now. Right now, I'm seeing his face. The name of the follow to The Exorcist from 1970 is The Exorcist True Believer. And what this movie did for me, right? What it did for me was it took me back there again. Whoever was at the helm of this movie, and I'm looking now for you guys, David Gordon Green, right? I need to cast. Leslie Odom Jr., yes. Leslie Odom Jr. played in Saints of New Jersey, Saints of Newark. He has a bear. He's up and coming. You know what? Keep your eyes out for Leslie, right? Keep your eyes out for Leslie. He definitely, yes, you get to call him Les. Yes, he's doing some things. I've been seeing him. I've been keeping my eyes on him, and keep your eye on this guy. Um, he really had this. He did this. He took his lead role, and he carried it, and he was in such a way that it was like smooth like butter, like smooth like, right? It was smooth. He was just like, he walked you every step of the way. For those of you who don't know the premise of the movie, it was set up around an African American man who was not a believer either way in anything other than whatever is right here and right now. The love of his life transition in the birth of his daughter. He took up the helm of raising and rearing his daughter, and something happened. She became possessed. Her and a friend went into the woods. They came back out. There was something else going on, but along the way, and after he got on board with the fact that there is something else out there, right? He got on, and it was a stronghold, and he really carried the movie well. So, but this is a B movie. Rarely do you ever, but his chops, his potential was seen there. Just want to let you know, Les, you were seen. I think I did 7 movies, right? But 5 of which I'm saying are really, but 2 of which, if there be a category for that type of thing going on, of course, And some other movies that I went to, let's talk about the other movies that I went to go see over the course of the year that were not noteworthy, just a time for me to get out the door and just hang out. The Champions, Woody Harrelson. I love him. He makes me smile. Anytime there's a Woody Harrelson movie, I'm going to put my ass in the seat. John Wick 4, right? Who doesn't love Keanu, right? Oh. Who doesn't love this guy? He is the Pope's exorcist. Like I said, rarely do they give out awards for stuff like this, but he did it. I loved it. I was entertained. And of course, we talked about Chevalier and Guy Ritchie's Covenant. Then we went and we bounced over the Guardians of the Galaxy. I went to the movies and had a good laugh. This was the last in their series, and I was there for it, and I had fun. The Boogeyman, Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I went to go see that with my son. I had a good time there. Indiana Jones. This was the last. I'm just going to say this. I know that Steven Spielberg had something to do with this movie. I mean, the former movies. I don't think he had anything to do with the last one because it was just kind of, and if he did, okay, but the Indiana Jones era is waning. I saw Insidious: The Red Door, Haunted Mansion, and this is with our guy. Oh my God, this guy, I'm so glad that he's getting a break. He was a lead in a movie. He's starting to lead movies. He's played such a villain in the biopic of the assassination of Huey Newton, which was the guy of the Black Panthers. And he was the villain who ratted him out, and he caught such a rap for that. And he talked about in an interview how he was just so depressed finishing up that movie that he didn't know what to do. So it feels good to have him. It's so good to see him doing other things and other projects. And now he was leading in the Haunted Mansion, and it was fun, and it was whimsical, and it was smart. It was a number of things, and it just felt good, gosh darn good seeing him. And he has something that you need to be looking out for too. The Haunting in Venice. For those of you who don't know, the election now. It's pretty good stuff. Looking forward to seeing Kenneth Branagh again, playing the detective. And of course, Equalizer, which I went to go see 4 times. I love Denzel. Anybody who doesn't know, if you have to ask. The whole, we talked about Silent Night. Silent Night was one of those movies that I know it's B-rated, it's a lot of kick-ass, but guess what? I think it was Wayne Lee who directed it, which he has been responsible for a lot of the movies over the years. That movie, just on the fact that people was getting their behind kicked the way they was getting kicked and the graphics and stuff, you know, they need to create a character. So, what say you guys? What are you thinking? And once again, I know that this dialogue, this monologue will be so much more rich and fun and fulfilling with more than one person on the screen. I'm going to work on doing that for you guys because it's so much fun. It's so much fun having people who agree to disagree, who have different points, and we could just like chop it up. And then maybe I don't need a co-star. Maybe I just need you. So the next time that we get a go round, maybe we'll have some more content to talk about. So next month, no, probably not next month, because we're coming up on season. We have 10 episodes per season, so we're coming up on week 10 really, really swiftly. So I'll be on a 5-week break. The next season 2 starts on April 21st, right? We have the interview. We have 2 interviews slated, right? We have For the Win, right? You have to be there to see it. The fourth week of the month. And we have the Shady Brunch. If you're wondering what it is, you have to be there on the 4th week of the month. But next week, I want to talk about next week. Next week, we have Essentials. Yes, baby. Essentials. And what that is that beauty care products, homemade, and we're going to be talking to its founder next week. Come back next week at 2:00 p.m. on Sunday on the 25th. Now let's chop it up. Let's talk to the maker, the owner and maker of Essentials. And we're going to work on making a connection with somebody in our community, in our Jersey community, who is just like us, who wants to live out their passions. We're going to find out how she got there. Once again, thank you guys for coming. We're talking about let's get to the list. Now, y'all heard my 5 movies. Let's see, view by category, nominees. We got nominees. Actor in a leading role, Bradley Cooper, Maestro. Coleman Domingo, Rustin. Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers. Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer. Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction. I forgot to mention American Fiction. Actors in a supporting role, Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction. Wow. Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer. Ryan Gosling, Barbie. And Mark Ruffalo, Poor Things. Actors and actresses in a leading role, Annette Bening, Nyad. Lily Gladstone, Killers of, I called her Lily Moon. My apologies, Miss Gladstone. Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay. Sandra Holler, Anatomy of the Fall. Carrie Mulligan, Maestro. Emma Stone, Poor Things. Actress in a supporting role, Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer. Did I mention Emily Blunt? Danielle Brooks, The Color Purple. America Ferrera, Barbie. Jodie Foster, Nyad. Divine Joy Randolph, The Holdovers. Animated film feature, which You know, guys, we know what I said. The Boy and the Heron. Okay. Hayao Miyazaki and Toshio Suzuki. Elemental. Peter Song and Denise Reed. Nimona. Nick Bruno, Troy Kwane, Karen Ryan, and Julie Zachary. Robot Dreams. Pablo Berger, Yvonne Cormenzana, Ignacia Estante, and Sandra Tapia Diaz. Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse. Kent Powers, Justin K. Thompson, Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and Amy Pascal. Cinematography, El Conde, Edmund Lackman. Killers of the Flower Moon, Rodrigo Prieto. Maestro, Matthew Libatique. Oppenheimer, Hoyte and Hoytema. Poor Things, Robbie Ryan. Costume design, Barbie, Jacqueline Durant. Killers of the Flower Moon, Jacqueline West. Napoleon, Jonte Yates and Dave Grossman. Oppenheimer, Ellen Niarn Jack. Poor Things, Holly Waddington. Directing, Anatomy of the Fall, Justine Trier. Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan. Poor Things, Yorgo Lanthimos. The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer. Wow, I can't believe that Mr. Nolan didn't get it. Documentary film, Bobby Wine, The People's President. Moses Bueno, Whale, Christopher Sharp, and John Butzek. The Eternal Memory, Maite Alberte. Four Daughters, Kayota Ben Ani and Nadine Chigroa. I did it. To Kill a Tiger, Nisha Pahuya, Cornelia Benfibe, and David Oppenheim. 20 Days in Maripol. Sistal Jernal, Michelle Meisner, and Rainey Arizona Rath. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on here. So it goes on and on and on. Documentary short film, The ABCs of Banning, The Barber of Little Rock, Island in Between. So I'll be reading this stuff up. Film editing. Okay, see what I said? The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. Wow. International. So there's so many makeup and hairstyling. Wow. And you can go on and on and on. But like I said, the category is www.oscars.org to hear the different categories and the different musical, original. I'm interested. So after I get off with you, I'm going to look through here. But each year, this proves itself to be more and more of an opportunity to dig off into this. I look forward to seeing you guys next year in covering the Oscars and doing a more evasive search. Right now, we've been on here an hour and 16 minutes just covering me, yammering all about my experience and how my emotional and my mental and my psychological ties into the experience of the film itself. So it's going to be, so matter of fact, I just had an idea. If you or someone you know are real well-versed in film or streaming or the stage, theater, on or off Broadway, on and off Broadway. Like, go to G_spot829 at yahoo.com, and we're going to put in a little mini application. And this may be a little rotating format because on the weeks that our pal Sal is not available, maybe we can have like other people come in and just do their thing and we just chop it up, because I think this would be such a more meaningful engagement if there's more than one person talking and offering input and insight and their thoughts. Let's hear other people's ideas. Once again, join me at gspot967 at youtube.com. Join me. Come and join us. Let's enjoy. Let's talk. Every third week of the month. Next week is Yeah Essentials. Sunday at 2 p.m. Be there.